They didn't just kill you, they made you beg for it. Picture an iron cage swinging from a wooden post above a crossroads, a man's body sealed inside it, left to rot in full view of the town. This was gibbeting, and it was legal. Medieval and early modern England built an entire ladder of punishment, and death sat only in the middle of it. Below it waited shame, branding, and mutilation. Above it waited things designed to make dying slow. Every rung had a logic, a price, and a purpose. This is that ladder, from the stocks to the cage. Here is what makes medieval justice so unsettling. It was not random cruelty. It was a system, every punishment matched to the crime and the criminal's rank. A nobleman and a beggar who did the same thing could face wildly different fates, because the law openly priced human suffering. We will climb 6 tiers, from public humiliation in the square, through branding and mutilation, into the economics of paying for your own life, past trial by ordeal, where God supposedly judged the guilty, and up to deaths so deliberately terrible they were built to erase you completely. Keep your eyes on the logic, because the logic is the real horror. The lowest rung was not pain. It was the crowd. In the pillory, a prisoner stood locked by the neck and wrists in a wooden frame in the town square, helpless while neighbors decided what to throw. Rotten food was mild. Stones, dead cats, and broken glass could blind or kill, turning a few hours of shame into a death sentence handed down by the mob. Yet the crowd could also acquit you. When the writer Daniel Defoe was pilloried in London in 1703 for mocking the government, Londoners pelted him with flowers and drank his health. For women labeled scolds, nagging wives, or sharp-tongued neighbors, England had the branks, an iron cage clamped over the head with a spiked plate that pressed down the tongue. In 1656, the Quaker Dorothy Waugh was locked into one in Carlisle simply for preaching in the street. Then came the ducking stool, a chair on a long beam that plunged the accused into a river or pond, again and again. The punishment was humiliation, not death, but it lingered for centuries. The last recorded ducking in England was Ginny Pipes at Leominster in 1809. Shame, it turned out, was the cheapest weapon the law owned. If shame did not reform you, the law reached for your body, and it aimed to leave a mark you could never hide. Under the laws of King Nut, around the year 1020, a repeat thief could lose his hands, his ears, his nose, even his upper lip, so that his crime was written on his face for life. Branding did the same with fire. A thief might be seared with a T on the cheek or thumb, a fraudmaker with an F, the letter chosen so that anyone could read your record at a glance. The Puritan writer William Prynne learned this twice. In 1637, for his pamphlets attacking the bishops, the court ordered both his ears cropped and his cheeks branded SL for seditious libeler. He wore that verdict until he died. There was also a stranger use of the brand. Under the medieval privilege called benefit of clergy, a condemned man who could read a verse of scripture escaped the gallows. But from 1490, he was branded on the thumb so he could never claim the mercy a second time. One life, one escape, burned permanently into the skin. Mutilation was not only punishment, it was a filing system made of flesh. Now the strangest tier of all, because here the punishment was a bill. Early English law did not always want your blood. It wanted your money. Under the wergild system, every free person had a fixed price, a man price, paid to the victim's family to stop a killing from becoming an endless feud. And the price depended entirely on rank. In Anglo-Saxon England, the life of a common ceorl was valued at around 200 shillings, while a nobleman, a thane, was worth 1,200, 6 times more. Even body parts had a tariff. The laws of King Aethelberht of Kent, written around the year 602, are the oldest surviving English laws, and they read like a grim price list. Strike off an ear, 12 shillings. A thumb, 20. A front tooth, 6. Justice was arithmetic. Smaller offenses brought an amercement, a fine that put you in the mercy of the king. Magna Carta in 1215 even promised that these fines would be proportionate, never so heavy that they stripped a man of his livelihood. But the logic cut both ways. If you were rich, you could buy your way clear of almost anything. If you were poor and could not pay, the law took its price from your body instead. Before there were juries, there was God, or at least a court that claimed to read his verdict. When guilt could not be proven, the accused faced trial by ordeal. In the ordeal of hot iron, you carried a glowing bar of metal 3 paces across the church floor. Your hand was bandaged and sealed, and 3 days later the priest unwrapped it. A clean, healing wound meant God had declared you innocent. Festering meant you hanged. In the ordeal of cold water, you were bound and lowered into a blessed pool. If you sank, the holy water had accepted you, and you were pulled out innocent. If you floated, the water had rejected you, and you were guilty. The Assize of Clarendon in 1166 made this the standard test for suspected criminals across England. But here's the quiet part. Priests ran the ceremony, and they held every variable: the heat of the iron, the tightness of the ropes, the judgment of the wound. Historians believe the outcome was often steered long before God was consulted. Then, in 1215, the church itself lost faith in it. The Fourth Lateran Council forbade priests from taking part, and within a few years the ordeal collapsed, replaced by 12 ordinary men, a jury. For most of the condemned, the end came at the gallows, and in London that meant Tyburn. For nearly 600 years, from 1196 until 1783, this was the city's killing ground. In 1571, they raised the Tyburn tree, a triangular gallows that could hang 24 people at once, and hanging days drew crowds in the thousands. There was no long drop to break the neck. The short drops strangled you slowly, sometimes for many minutes, while friends pulled on your legs to hasten the end. By some estimates, around 50,000 people died there. But one punishment was reserved for those who would not even speak. If a prisoner refused to plead, the court could not try him, so it turned to peine forte et dure, pressing. The accused was laid down and loaded with iron and stone until he pleaded or was crushed. The logic was chilling and precise. A man convicted of a felony forfeited everything to the crown, ruining his family. But a man who died without a verdict kept his lands. In 1586, Margaret Clitheroe of York chose exactly this. She refused to plead, partly to spare her children from testifying, and was pressed to death beneath roughly 800 pounds of weight. Pressing was not abolished until 1772. At the very top of the ladder waited punishments designed to reach beyond death itself. For high treason, the sentence was to be hanged, drawn, and quartered. The condemned was dragged to the scaffold, hanged until nearly dead, cut down alive, disemboweled, then beheaded and chopped into 4 quarters. In 1305, the Scottish leader William Wallace suffered exactly this at Smithfield in London, and his quarters were sent to 4 cities to be displayed. The logic was total. Treason attacked the king's body, so the traitor's body was destroyed and scattered so completely that it could never rest or be honored. For heresy, and for a wife who killed her husband, the sentence was fire. Under Queen Mary, roughly 280 Protestants were burned at the stake between 1555 and 1558. Burning women continued for coining or counterfeiting, and the last, Christian bowman, went to the flames in 1789, and even a corpse could be punished. In gibbeting, the executed body was coated in tar and locked inside a man-shaped iron cage, then hung from a high post at a crossroads to rot for years in plain sight. That swinging cage, visible for miles, was the law's final word, a warning that some crimes followed you even after you were dead. Six tiers, from a wooden frame in the square to an iron cage over a crossroads, everyone built on deliberate logic. That is what makes medieval justice so haunting. If this pulled you in, subscribe to Curious History, where we uncover the machinery behind the past. Next time, we step inside a plague doctor's daily rounds, and why that beaked mask was medical theory, not costume.